Look at that, my friends. Isn't it hauntingly beautiful? It is hauntingly beautiful. It almost looks like some sort of freaky alien landscape. Well, maybe that's because it is a freaky alien landscape, and it is the Sometimes Vlog! Vlog! It's a vlog that happens sometimes. I hope you guys can hear that crazy echo that I can hear standing here in real life. Welcome back to the Sometimes Vlog, and this Sometimes Vlog is from one of the most extreme places we've ever been together. Death Valley National Park here in Southern California, in the middle of the desert. The hottest, lowest, driest desert in North America. Look at this. This is Golden Canyon, my friends. And it's very beautiful. I know you're having a hard time adjusting there to the light of this phone. I actually started this vlog 3 times already, so if I sound out of breath, I kind of am. You can hear that crazy, crazy wind in the background, and I apologize for it, but I can't control the weather. My powers, the power of the Cobra has not advanced quite that far yet. The weather is still just a little bit out of my control. And guys, I gotta be honest with you. Today is kind of rough. I didn't know whether the weather would allow me to film the Random Land Adventures I came to Death Valley to film. And so far, the weather has not. But that's neither here nor there. Perhaps you're stumbling on this by accident. This, my friends, is the filming location for some pickup shots from Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, which I just call Star Wars, since when it was released, that's what it was called. Right down here, at the very back of how far you can see down this canyon, you might see a fallen rock there with a little bit of a black crack under it right there. That is the mouth of a somewhat collapsed cave in which you saw one of the little Jawa creatures on Tatooine peeking out at R2-D2. And it's about to get a little more familiar looking to you. If you look at this, you might recognize it from Star Wars. Right here, a Jawa was creeping and peeping. You just saw his head just in the frame right here. He peeks around this corner and looks at R2-D2 nervously coming through the canyon. Now, most of those scenes were filmed in Tunisia and North Africa, but because the R2-D2s didn't work that well, many of the shots had to be redone. Some pickup shots had to be taken here in Death Valley in Golden Canyon, which looks a little bit like the canyon in Tunisia. Right here is a quick shot of rocks falling down and scattering on the ground. Up there is a shot of a Jawa looking down at R2-D2, and if you climb up here, if you climb up here and look back down, hold on, I don't think we're high enough yet actually. If you climb up here and look back down, you'll notice this face in the rock. R2-D2 comes cruising along through here, turning his head, looking nervously up into this canyon, while up here, an actor dressed as a Jawa scurries out of sight like a little rat. Look at that. You guys see the moon up there? Incredible. It is about 200,000 degrees in Death Valley. No, not actually. It is about 115 degrees right now, maybe 112. Everything is hot to the touch, and the reason why I'm sort of out of breath, other than starting the vlog and yelling and yodeling through this canyon, is also because the air is just so hot, it's difficult to breathe. Try turning on a heat lamp and a blow dryer, blow drying the heat lamp air into your lungs, and then doing a whole bunch of talking to a camera. It's kind of difficult, actually. More difficult than I expected. Right here, you can see this sort of tail fin of the mountains right here. A Jawa peeks his head up over here. So this Golden Canyon was used for several pickup shots from the original Star Wars movie. The reason why they're all so close together is because they had to lug all that camera gear up here and all of ILM's gear to control the prop R2-D2. Actually, I don't know if that would have been ILM or not, but either way, to control the prop R2-D2, so they had all your lighting equipment, your generators, all that stuff. They didn't want to move it around, so they shot as many of those little scenes from the same angle as they could. So you can see how versatile one tiny little canyon is when it comes to filming all this stuff. Over here, we have the infamous Jawa Creeper Crack, which I'll show you in just one second. I would show you the little fallen cave, but I already walked up there earlier. And like I said, it's about 115 degrees here in Death Valley. So it's ridiculously hot. Look up there. Way up there, that's the little Creeper Crack. Another one where we see the Jawa. As the camera moves, as if it were R2-D2, we see a Jawa creeping and peeping from up in this little crack here inside of Golden Canyon. And of course, like I said, looking this way, you may recognize it a little more from R2-D2. If you're interested in the Star Wars filming locations in Death Valley, check out my whole random land video about that Star Wars filming locations in Death Valley in California, whatever it's titled. Just search for Random Land and Star Wars. I am sure you will find it. That's neither here nor there, even though it is actually right here, and it's pretty amazing and awesome. As a matter of fact, don't tell anybody this, I'm actually kind of a little bit of a nerd and brought my own telescoping R2-D2 here. Well, sensor scope R2-D2 here. 1980 Empire Strikes Back action figure to recreate my favorite scenes. Sort of a childhood dream come true. First of all, to have this, because I never actually had this one as a kid. And second of all, to bring it here and actually touch it to the R2-D2 Earth where Star Wars was filmed. Look at him. Look at him. R2-D2. So is it starting to look more familiar to you now? Is it starting to look more familiar to you now? Probably not. But that's as close as we're going to get. That's as close as I'm ever going to get to making Star Wars, which of course is everyone's childhood dream. Anyway, I'm here in the mouth of Golden Canyon. Golden Canyon extends for quite a ways that way. And other than me, there are some foreign tourists back there who I really, really hope could understand the signs at the entrance to the canyon, because posted at the entrance to the canyon, and I'll show you the sign. I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear me by that point because the wind is going to get stronger and stronger as we go along, folks. So I apologize for that. Is a sign that says danger or warning, excessive heat warning, walking not recommended after 10 a.m. This is a pretty long hike, so I really hope they brought more water with them than it looked like they had. Anyways, you also may recognize this shot from Star Wars as well. Right after Luke gets conked on the head by the sand people, they go, that kind of sounds like Desi Arnaz, doesn't it? Sand people screaming kind of sounds like Desi Arnaz, Ricky Ricardo laughing. Lucy? Lucy? Oh, it's okay, Lucy. Right? Now I'm really going to be out of breath. Right here, it's just another quick shot during the echo when the Tusken Raider is screaming. So many little pickup shots here. And of course, I've done way more detailed work and lined up the shots over in a Random Land adventure. So go see that. Anyway, I'm up here because I'm on a crazy road trip. If you haven't really been following that closely lately, I did go all the way up US 395 up the eastern side of California, which is the side of California basically nobody lives on and nobody visits. I visited Virginia City, Nevada, way up there. And then I also went to Bodie, California, which is a massive ghost town, the eastern Sierra Nevada mountains, where they had gold and all kinds of crazy stuff, basically around the same time and just after the whole Comstock load thing with Virginia City and all that. So I was filming some Random Land adventures. The reason I went up there first is because there's this crazy heat wave in Southern California, particularly in the deserts and particularly here in Death Valley, that I was hoping to avoid because one of my missions was to get some Random Land adventures in Death Valley on film. So I tried to miss the heat wave and ended up catching it right at its zenith. Unfortunately, I had to be home in a few days. Some of the roads are closed here. Some of the things I wanted to film are completely inaccessible due to the heat and the staffing shortages here in the national park because it's not tourist season, it's way in the off season, and I don't have a crazy high clearance four-wheel drive vehicle. So it looks like my plans as they were are totally heimbucked. However, I decided to cruise into Death Valley, see what 120 degree, excuse me, the heat's starting to get to me, 120 degree temperatures feels like, which I'll describe in a second, and show you guys whatever I could show you right now. It is so hot outside, and I am totally not acclimated to this kind of heat. I don't think anybody is or actually possibly ever could be. Maybe those old prospectors. That I decided to seek refuge in the mouth of Golden Canyon and show you some R2-D2 stuff. What I was going to tell you right now, actually. So the canyon we were just standing in is right up here above this little rise. You can see where it used to be paved, but those flash floods in Death Valley, which are pretty gnarly. Death Valley receives less than 2 inches of rainfall per year on average. There have been whole years with zilch, zero, zip, none rain. So as you can imagine, when it does rain, it all collects and pours out canyons and arroyos and washes like this. And just totally heimbucks. It'll wash away entire roads and rocks and humans and vehicles and whatever's in its path and totally destroy and heimbuck it. Anyways, up here on this little ledge is where we were standing when I showed you the echo thing. All the little Jawa creeper crackers stuff are in this little flat part of the canyon here. Well, last time when I was here with my brother, actually, Seth, he's single, ladies, filming the Star Wars filming locations, we heard this weird sound. Just this weird sound, this weird singing sound. It was the strangest thing. Luckily, I had already filmed all the dialogue and all the talking about the pickup shots I had wanted to film. As we turned this corner and came down this little thing, which I should have showed you this the first time I came down so I didn't have to hop up and hop back down here. Assembled on that little piece of what's left of the paved road, so you got a picture from this angle, was a large group of Koreans. I know they were Koreans because I took Taekwondo for a while, so I speak enough Korean, or I'm familiar with enough Korean, I should say, to know that that's what it was. And there was a Korean group, a Korean church group, more specifically, standing on this little piece of road, facing down here. So facing down at the little, you know, the canyon, the curve of the canyon. They were all facing this way, and there was like a choir of ladies in the background, one or two men. They were all singing these beautiful hymns, right? Which, let me tell you, oh, Star Wars, wonderful Star Wars. Sounded really creepy and eerie in here, but even creepier up there, you know, echoing through the canyon. Anyway, they were all singing and doing their thing, and then right here in the front was a very well-dressed, full-on suit, the whole thing, by the way, they were all very well-dressed, a full-on suit and everything guy who looked a lot like the Gangnam Style guy. Like just his whole, like his huskiness and the shape of him, you know, he just had those sort of physical characteristics, not just because he was Korean, but he was standing here giving a sermon. So I thought to myself, dang, there must be a whole Korean tour group or a church group here on a retreat. So I thought I was going to turn the corner of the canyon and see this massive group of people listening to this guy talk. But when I turned the corner here, there was one little old lady standing right here holding an iPad and recording the church service. So if you happen to be Korean and you're really into church, you might recognize this as a filming location from your favorite. I have no idea what it was, but it might be your favorite for all I know. Anyway, like I said, 120 degrees today. That was a temperature recorded down in Death Valley. By the time I got here, it was only about 115. I have never been in this kind of hot temperatures before. It's easy to say, well, I've been in 102, man, so I know how you feel. No, you don't. I have been in Atlanta in the middle of summer and all over the whole country, Kansas. I've been to every state, -7, in the union, in the summertime, and felt all the extremes of heat with the humidity and without the humidity. This Death Valley heat is unlike anything I have ever felt before. It is like you cook tater tots or fries or bake grandma some cupcakes in the oven, and I might have already just said this 5 minutes ago. I can't tell the difference between this one and the other vlog I tried to start, but my phone was full of memory. My memory was full. Mistakes are being made. It's too hot to think. Anyway, it's like doing that, opening the oven and just going, and then it keeps coming and coming and coming and coming. It's actually so bad that you don't want to run the air conditioner too much in your car when you're going over the mountains and all the stuff in here in Death Valley. Because you don't want to, you don't want the vehicle to overheat, right? So I leave the air conditioner off. I'm a windows down kind of guy. I mean, unless there's a girl with girl hair in the car with me, I pretty much always have the windows down. And why not? I'm always wearing hats. Anyway, so I had the windows down. It was unbearable. You had to put your head in the middle of the car out of the wind because the actual wind itself is painfully hot, like holding a blow dryer to your face. All of the surfaces here in Death Valley, and it's cooling down significantly, actually, just since I've been talking to you in the last 10 minutes or so. all of the surfaces and the stones and the thing. Oh, look, somebody littered in here. Let's pick that up and take that out. I probably should have checked before I just grabbed that, just in case of scorpions. Anyway, everything here is hot to the touch. Like, you know, a coffee cup or, I don't know, like a bowl in the microwave that you shouldn't have put in the microwave, and it's just so hot, it's unbearable to hold. Like, it's right on the edge of being unbearable. Like, okay, it's too hot, put it down. That's the temperature of every single thing you touch in Death Valley, including your own steering wheel, your car, everything. It is unbelievably hot. Now, there are plenty of people who put up with it, and there are plenty of people who come here all the time, they're used to it, and they'll say, oh, come on, you little sissy, you should be there when it's 130 degrees. And hey, man, I'm with you. You're tougher than I am. I admit it. I'm just saying, it's crazy, and when you're not used to it, wow. Wow. So, I will not be able to do the Random Land adventures that I wanted to do, so I've gotten all super, super dark brown on this trip for less reason than I was hoping to have. And by the way, everyone always asks me, different stuff about, my ethnicity or all this stuff. Look at this. I'm actually kind of pale. I don't know if you can really tell. The difference between my hand, I'll put it on Instagram or something. The difference between my hand and my shoulder is out of control. I am a quarter Sicilian, so I do not sunburn ever. I think I've been sunburned once in my entire life, and I had to spend, I think it was 9 or 10 hours in direct sunlight, and then I got a little bit of sunburning going on my ears. I don't burn, I just get darker. Are you like that? Or are you a burner? Are you a burner or a tanner? Well, I get tan. And I've gotten ridiculously tan on this trip. Anyway, I was really hoping to catch Death Valley now, this time of year. By the way, I'll just show you a little scenery while I'm talking. I was really hoping to catch it this time of year because normally it's only in the 90s to around 100 degrees, which I can totally handle at this time of year because I'm going to be busy for a few weeks, and I didn't want to have to wait all the way until September, October, November to come back and film the Randomland Adventures in Death Valley. Well, it looks like the universe and time and fate and circumstance has other plans for Randomland, and I'm not going to be able to pull off exactly the things I wanted to pull off. But still, like I'm always saying with the whole quest for positivity thing, is that you can't control your circumstances, but you can control how you react to them. I've already had an amazing, incredible road trip. I went to Bodie, I went to Mono Lake, we did some crazy vlogs together. I also made a whole bunch of friends hanging out in Virginia City those couple of days. So I had some pretty good experiences, some pretty interesting, pretty good experiences. I've also been able to scout out and scope out a whole bunch of future Randomland stuff. So hopefully I get the chance and the dime and the scratch to come back up 395 at some future point and film the Upside Down House and all, well, maybe some of them I'll leave. Just a secret to you and me, or, well, just to me for now. But, yeah. So it wasn't a wasted trip at all. Tonight I'm going to be camping up in the mountains on the other side of Death Valley, a place called Wild Rose, which is up at about, I think, 4,000 feet. And the reason for that is it's about 5 degrees warmer every 1,000 feet you drop, I think, or 100 feet. I can't remember. It's way cooler up there than it is down here. It's in the 90s instead of the 100 and somethings, you know what I mean? So I'm going up to camp out of the heat, up kind of in the mountains. Hopefully some Randomland adventures will result, or some videos for this channel. And I have no idea when I'm going to be able to upload this because there's no cell phone reception and certainly no internet in Death Valley. Death Valley is the size of Connecticut. So some people say, well, if you go to this certain visitor center, you'll have a little bit of cell phone service. True. But that means driving across the state of Connecticut to get to the visitor center. And by the way, if you don't know much about Death Valley, and here it is. There we go. We're opening up onto the beautiful vista that is Death Valley. There's the valley itself. Isn't that amazing? If you don't know much about Death Valley, it is the lowest point in North America. 282 feet, I believe. Don't quote me on that 100% because I'm in a canyon right now, and it's not like I've got Google in front of me. 282 feet below sea level. Is this little place called Badwater down here. And the hottest reliably recorded temperatures on Earth were also taken in Death Valley in a place called Furnace Creek. They believe that at the time those temperatures were taken, during a heat wave like this, that it was actually hotter down in Badwater, which is the lowest point in Death Valley, which is down in that old extinct lake here. The whole valley floor spread around you. Death Valley National Park isn't just one valley. It's this whole huge valley here between these giant mountain ranges. And on the other side, there's the Panamint Valley. And then on the other side, there's another whole valley. There's a bunch of valleys here. There's volcanic craters. There's huge peaks that go away thousands and thousands of feet in the air. Actually, only about 50 miles as the crow flies, not as you can drive. Only about 50 miles. I know less than 100 miles away. But I think only about 50 miles away, whoa, is Mount Whitney, which is the highest point in the lower 48 states. I think only Denali Peak or something like that is actually higher than it. So you have the tallest mountain in the contiguous lower 48 United States and the lowest point also in the United States. Very, very, very close together. I saw Mount Whitney this morning on the last vlog I filmed, and now I'm looking down across Death Valley towards Badwater, negative 282 feet. That's below sea level. Somebody call James Cameron, we're going below sea level. I was gonna show you guys Badwater, but I got down there. There's this long walkway out to Badwater. It's like this salty kind of little marsh. You can imagine why it's called Badwater. Cause the water tastes bad. All the salt and stuff. You can see what looks like water out there maybe. That shininess is all salt and minerals collected when the lake and the water that runs down these canyons and stuff out into that big sink evaporates. It leaves what is it called? It's called a something basin when the water comes in through the Amargosa River and all these other little streams and stuff and these little arroyos here, and then it evaporates, it has nowhere to go, so it just evaporates and disappears and it leaves all these mineral deposits behind. There's a lot I could say about that, about how people came here prospecting for gold, but instead they found this salty, crystally stuff called borax here. That's why they made all their money. There's all kinds of crazy, amazing history to Death Valley, which I've been doing a lot of research on because I was going to film all these crazy random land things. They didn't work out, and I'm trying not to be bitter here. Anyways, gallons and gallons of water can evaporate from your body. That's how hot it is here. That's how crazy the evaporation is. And so it leaves all these salty crystals down here. There's this little spring or something down there where the water collects, and it's called Badwater, and it's the lowest point. Actually, the lowest point's a little west of it. Not to be too technical, but it's a long walkway out there. It's super hot. Like I said, it's 117 degrees, I think, at the time when I started this vlogging adventure, 115, right around there. And I decided not to walk that far. Because as far as this might have looked like we walked, it's really not that bad. What I was about to say is, I think 4 liters, sometimes or is it 4 gallons or 4 liters? A lot of water can evaporate. Several 2 liters of water can evaporate out of your body in a single day here in Death Valley. That's how extreme the temperature is. That's how extremely dry the environment is. It just literally sucks the moisture right out of you. There's a mosquito right there. From where? Where do mosquitoes breed out here? Anyways, so you have to replenish your water a lot or you will die. Spoiler alert, you can only lose about 2 gallons of water before you start to die. 3 gallons of water, your whole face and body would be splitting open and you'd pretty much be dead. And 4, you'd be mummified. So you need to replenish your water constantly. I have been replenishing my water constantly, but for the last 30 minutes or so, I've been in this canyon talking to you guys. So we can't spend that much more time together. Anyway, that's the reason why I decided to show you the canyon, because it'll be a little shadier. We could talk about R2-D2, we could talk about Star Wars. I could remind you guys about that random land if you didn't see it. Star Wars filming locations. And now, it's a lot windier out here. So, or at least it was when I started this vlog. So I'm hoping you guys can see, oh, the wind has died down somewhat for the moment. Look at that. Massive. Massive. On every side, all of these mountains. And look at that. Look how gorgeous that is. You might be seeing this days after I filmed it, by the way. I apologize if this is completely out of sequence for you. But usually I try and upload these videos the same day, but there's no internet service here, so I have no idea when you'll see this. But there's no way to describe to you how massive these peaks are. They are thousands and thousands of feet high. As a matter of fact, 2,000 foot elevation is somewhere on that rise out there, not even up on the peaks. And it's one of those landscapes that you drive across it and you think the mountains are going to get, you know, bigger and bigger. They're going to change perspective in your windshield. They do not. Instead, these little bumps and stuff you see become huge hills that you drive through and around and under. These are massive, 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 massive peaks. As a matter of fact, the valley floors beyond this, Owens River Valley and all that stuff, are at several thousand feet. So Death Valley, you actually drop in to Death Valley. Pretty much any way you come from, you're dropping in these massive, crazy cliff-like rows. And I got some footage of that on my phone, so maybe I can cut it together and put it after this vlog so you can see it. Death Valley, it's pretty crazy. Anyway, I didn't want to die of dehydration by going to Badwater and showing you the lowest point in the continental United States. I'm definitely going to show you that point, by the way. Probably on a random land. I'm not sure that I'm going to come back down into the valley floor tomorrow, as there are other things in the national park I want to see that aren't actually in Death Valley proper. I can feel my lips totally chapping and drying out now as I'm talking to you. Ironically enough, my nose is starting to run, but I think that's because the dust. There's all this salty, alkali dust. But look at that, just look at, can you guys see that? Isn't that amazing? There's so much different color here. Look at how it just goes from red immediately to a different color. Bam, bam, then there's a lighter color here. Death Valley is this crazy land of extremes. And I know Yosemite gets, you know, is the most popular national park in California, certainly. And definitely one of the most beautiful places on earth. But for my money, Death Valley, I would almost say it's just as beautiful as Yosemite, especially Artist Palette back over here. You can see that in the Star Wars filming location one too. But I'm gonna say, I highly recommend coming here in the winter. Last time I came here was in just turning spring. Wildflower season in Death Valley. It was gorgeous, it was beautiful. Woo, you hear the wind? That is literally painful, painfully hot. Stings the nostrils and the eye holes. Every orifice is burning. That's what she said. Every orifice is burning. I'm looking for the keys. Hold on there. I'm looking for the keys. Hold on there. See, that's the thing about the vlog. You never know what's gonna happen. They're not planned out. Okay, let me take a little shelter from the wind. Dang, that's crazy. Look at how gorgeous that is. Anyway, I came in the spring, I came in wildflower season. It was really gorgeous out here. Really, really, really beautiful. And the weather was like, I don't know, rain. It just, because there's so much extremes and elevation and all that stuff, the weather really, 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 really changes a lot depending on where you are in the park. But basically, I would say in the 70s to the 90s, that area. I'm trying to duck out of the wind here so I can talk to you guys for just a few more seconds. It was gorgeous. Death Valley is one of the most gorgeous places on earth. I highly recommend coming here. But I have to say, for the record, coming here in basically a week before the 4th of July was dumb. Now, I've had trailers full of equipment and a ton of friends out here. We had some misters and spray bottles and crazy four-wheel drive vehicles and chains and stuff. I might spend more time in Death Valley and try and pull off the videos I wanted to pull off. But as it happens, with my limited resources, couldn't quite achieve what I wanted to achieve. But I had a pretty crazy adventure. Now we have a story to tell together about the time we visited the hottest place on earth in basically the middle of the summer. So there you go. Death Valley. And now I'm going up into the mountains to camp. And whatever other clips I have, I can show you of Death Valley, I'm going to show you right now. Make sure to go over to livefastdieport.com. Check out all the stuff we have over there. YouTube.com/livefastdieport. That's my other channel with the edited videos that are... some people would think much better than these videos. We have the Star Wars one over there and all kinds of stuff. I really am honestly having a hard time thinking now. It's time for me to rehydrate and drink about another gallon of water, head up to my camping spot, go home and sleep well. Make sure to check out down below for the links in the description. If there are no links in this description, go check them out in the other one. We have all kinds of social media and t-shirts and funding opportunities and things and more adventures to have. And I'm dehydrated now. I'm going to die. I'm going to die in Death Valley. Here lies Justin Scar, died of death in Death Valley. Just tell the world, Jeff Heimbuch did it. He murdered me. No, I'm just kidding. Completely fine. About to rehydrate with a crazy amount of water. I hope those German tourists are okay. There's that sign I was telling you about, by the way. Do not come in here. It's too hot, basically, is what that sign says. I'm going to now run some AC, drink some Hi-C. Just kidding. Going to drink a bunch of water. And, like I said, go camping and sleep well. Goodbye. Just decided to pull over here for a second because of this sign I saw on the side of the road. As Tyler would say, bro, look at that. Extreme heat danger. I just came out of the Panamint Valley down here past Stovepipe Wells. Nice little resort area there. So we're right now at a sea level elevation. So when I film my videos, I like them to be a little plucky, a little happy. You know, that's kind of what makes them fun. High energy, excitement. I cannot even begin to describe to you how much 120-degree weather just immediately sucks all of the strength out of your body. Hopefully, this isn't a sign of things to come, right? Even though clearly it is a sign. R2-D2's coming. He's coming through the canyon. Picture this. Picture a very echoey sound of... It's the Sometimes Vlog! Look at that beautiful old western sunset. Sun is going down over the Pacific Ocean. Death Valley National Park is looking beautiful in those beautiful hues of night times blossoming in the hearts of the wind, where you paint with all the colors and you draw with the foundation of your remorses, heartfelt goodness. Captain's Vlog Supplemental. I did make it all the way up to the campground I was intending to stay at, but as I was getting closer and closer, the rental car started to continued making some pretty weird little sounds I heard earlier. They're not bad sounds, but having plenty of experience with random cars and touring, I always err on the side of caution, and I've decided to head back down to a different campground on the side of the main road and possibly head home and sleep well. The thing is that I like to roll with it, you know? I like to go with my gut. And this time my gut is saying that we gave it the old college try. Things didn't work out the way we wanted them to, and the adventure that we had wasn't the one we expected. But an adventure was had nonetheless. So, even though I'm sure I could have punched my way out of any situation with the power of the cobra, the wisdom of the owl tells me it's better to err on the side of caution, cut the adventure a little bit shorter, and just make sure everything is cool. Head back down to town, maybe get some Mountain Dew, go home and sleep well, perhaps. Anyways, I'm sure we will be back out in the desert for some more Death Valley and other adventures. But for now, it's time to head back to civilization. Don't you think, Owlie? He's not much of a talker when you guys are around. Weird guy, Owlie. Oh, I forgot you were there. Don't worry about it. He's fine. He'll be cool. He'll figure it out later. Anyways, I love you guys. But I'm going to leave you here on the old dusty trail. And I'm sorry for the wind. There's nothing I can do about that. Stay positive. Stay positive. Okay, bye.